Hello everyone, this is Robert from Book of Mormon Editions, where we discuss printings, publications, and various editions of the Book of Mormon. So a few weeks ago, I reviewed a dual language edition of the Book of Mormon, where one column has the English text of the Book of Mormon and the other column has an accompanying text with an international language. This is useful to missionaries and other readers who want to both read the scriptures and learn the language at the same time. So today I see your double column and raise you one more column with a triple column edition. This is the Language Study edition of the Book of Mormon, a volume to learn the scriptures in Chinese. So here we go. This was published in 2011 by Intellectual Reserve Incorporated. You'll recognize this entity as the holding company for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Utah. So in essence, the Salt Lake Church published this volume, and it looks like this volume was printed in 2013. The text is split into three columns. The right column is the standard Salt Lake text of the English language. This is identified with a proper chapter and verses matching the traditional Salt Lake format that we're all used to. The left-hand column is listed as traditional Chinese, and it seems that modern Chinese characters is read from left to right, similar to English, and the verse numbers start on the left. Sure enough, a character recognition app like Google Translate will convert this as needed for the traditional Chinese characters. But obviously, because I'm not familiar with Chinese, the middle column was a surprise to me, and I learned something new as there is a third language called Mandarin Romanized. This is essentially a pronunciation system that allows English readers to verbally speak the Chinese syllables that make up the traditional characters. So generally speaking, there is a value of learning traditional Chinese characters and also learning how to pronounce the language also. And it makes sense. Someone who's non-Chinese might recognize the characters, but will not know how to speak it. Hence the need for a Romanized Chinese third language to bridge the gap for verbal understanding also. So this book has three columns, and this format is throughout the whole volume and ends on page 801 with no supplemental materials or reference guide or back index. And similar to the dual language volume that I reviewed previously, there really is no need for cross-referencing because the whole purpose of this volume is for language study from column to column. You'll also see that each verse starts on the same line, and there might be spacing in the various verse ends to make sure that each verse is aligned with each other. While I haven't addressed language volumes of the Book of Mormon much, here's some interesting key features to think about. Proper names like Nephi, Abinadi, Coriantumr, and Gadianton seem pretty complicated to figure out what pronunciations will be suitable. And then there's the double-defined words like in Ether chapter 2, when those in the story took Deseret, which by interpretation means honeybee. You'll have to pronounce this as best as you can as Deseret, and then continue to translate saying that this is interpreted as honeybee. Also, the English formatting is worth noting because even though this lists a 2011 copyright, the English text was prepared in advance to match the 2013 Salt Lake updates. You'll remember that in 2004, the church supported the Doubleday edition of the Book of Mormon with various edited updates. Moroni chapter 3 is a simple example of to cross-reference. The church rolled these out to the standard missionary edition in 2013. So this Chinese volume had the updated text in 2011, even when the English Salt Lake text was still not printed until 2013 with its new copyright. I did a review of this on other volumes of the Book of Mormon on this channel, and I'll encourage you to look at those videos also. These triple language volumes are no longer printed, and it seems that they had a print run for a few years, or at least from the copyright of 2011 to the print run of this 2013 and probably a few years longer also. The chatter about this one was that the church had obviously had the English text and the traditional Chinese characters text, but this was one of, if not the first time, they used the Romanized Mandarin text. It seems the Romanized text was not vetted well enough through the church language departments. I know there's a lot of pride when it comes to language translations, and I would imagine the triple volume had exponentially higher standards, when there was a third language to include to a very large group of people. So, while the standard Chinese Book of Mormon is still currently available, this Triple Chinese Language Study edition, published in 2011, is no longer in print, but still worthy of a review here today. For any Chinese speakers, I would love some feedback on this review, as I know language study is a huge topic, and I know I only scratched the surface with this video. So thanks everyone in advance for reviewing this copy of the Book of Mormon. As always, please look through this channel to see other volumes that have been reviewed. And if you have a specific or unique volume of the Book of Mormon that you'd like reviewed here, please contact me at bomeditions@gmail.com. Happy scripture studying, everyone.